Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are making this gorgeous, lightweight French lavender hand lotion. So back when I was still in university, before Humblebee and Me, I was either flying to Toronto or back to Calgary, and the lady next to me on the plane had this wonderful smelling hand lotion. There was lavender and a hint of like sweetness and a bit of powder and some like citrus. Oh, it was gorgeous. And I asked her what it was, and so she showed me this little tube from Lotion. And then she gave it to me, and of course I kind of did the like, I couldn't possibly, but okay, thank you. And I loved that lotion, and so it was one of the first things that I really wanted to sort of make my own version of when I started making things. And so I released a version of that lotion kind of back in 2014. And then I happened to find that original tube again in a drawer when I was moving recently and gave it another try and thought, hey, you know, it's been a few years, I should take another stab at this. So here we are. The version from Lotion was quite light. Like, it was not a greasy lotion at all. It really glided on, gorgeously absorbed very, very quickly, and really left the skin feeling soft and hydrated, but not at all heavy. So one of the things that I did with this lotion was I made the oil phase quite small so that we could have, you know, that wonderful lightweight feel to it. And I made sure to use relatively lightweight oils. Now, the original used quite a lot of different ingredients in the oil phase, but knowing that the oil phase is fairly small and looking at the number of ingredients that they use, it would have been like at just, 1% or less of a bunch of different things. So I didn't use all the ingredients that they used, but sort of in the spirit of the consistency of the recipe, the size of the oil phase is pretty small, and then I have used some of the ingredients that they used. The scent blend was the other thing that really caught my nose about the original lotion. So there's definitely lavender in there, but it wasn't just plain old lavender. There was some sweet warmth in there, so I've included some benzoin for a kind of sweet, warm vanilla base note. And then there was something bright up top, sort of citrusy, so I've included some Litsea cubeba. And then there was also some powder, which is kind of a hard thing to describe, but I think if you've smelled it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Sort of like dry, sweet kind of note. You really only get it from the use of a fragrance oil, so I've included a tiny amount of a fragrance oil that has a bit of a powdery note. Now, this is optional. You can read the blog for some more discussion around this point. It's closer, I think, than my original scent blend, but it's not quite the right powdery note, so I don't know. It's still really nice, but duplicating scents is really hard. Anyhow, the end lotion is really, really lovely. It's got a really gorgeous velvety skin feel, which I think is quite decadent. It smells great, fast absorbing, been leaving my skin really hydrated and lovely, and yeah, definitely not just for use on hands, it's great for the whole body. But yeah, let's go make some. We'll begin by combining our water part and our oil part into two separate heat-resistant glass measuring cups. So in this one, there's already 70.8 grams of distilled water, and to that we're going to add 2 grams of glycerin, 1 gram of hydrolyzed silk, 2 grams of Propanediol 1,3, and 2 grams of Panthenol. For our oil phase, we have 6 grams of refined shea butter, 6 grams of Capric and Caprylic triglycerides, 2 grams of cetyl alcohol, and 3.5 grams of Polawax. Before we pop this in our water bath, I'm going to weigh this entire container with our water phase in it and note that weight. To melt everything together, we're going to grab our water bath. So this is a wide, flat-bottom sauté pan with about 1 inch or 3 centimeters of water in the bottom of it. And I'm going to pop both of our measuring cups in it and go put this on the stovetop over medium heat for about half an hour to melt everything through. Alright, so we've got our phases all melted, so we can kind of remove those from our water bath. We're done with that, and it is fogging up the glass, something fierce here. So rebalance our water phase here. So take out the spatula since we don't want that to throw things off. Fire up our scale and pop that on there and see where we're at. So it has lost a little bit of water, so I've got some preheated distilled water here, and we're just going to bring that up to where it was. Now we're going to add this to our oil phase, and we're going to start blending. We're going to blend here for about 2 to 3 minutes, and so make sure that when you're blending, you're working short bursts up to a full blend, otherwise you'll spray lotion everywhere, and make sure you keep your blender upright so that you're not spraying lotion out to the side. All right, I got a pretty good base blend going on there. I'm gonna leave this to cool for about 10 minutes and come back and blend it some more. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. See, it's kind of thickening up a bit on top, but definitely still needs some blending. It's still pretty warm too. All right, that was about another 2 minutes of blending. You can see that this has started noticeably thickening, which is just, it never stops being cool. Still pretty warm, so I'm gonna leave this to cool for another 10 minutes or so, and I'm actually gonna take it off the cloth so that the coolness of the counter can help it cool down a little bit faster as well. All right, it's been another 10 minutes, and I think we are ready to add our cool down ingredients. This is nice and thick, and it's not really warm anymore. Because our cool down ingredients are used in quite small amounts, we want to weigh them out on a scale that can handle that. But most of my more accurate scales have a maximum weight that is quite a lot lower than the weight of this, so we're going to weigh everything out into a wee dish using this more precise scale, and then we're going to blend a bit of lotion into that and then put it back in the master batch. So here's everything. We've got, of course, our preservative, our essential oils, and then some Penstia powder and some vitamin E. So we're going to start with the vitamin E at 0.05 grams. Half a gram of liquid germall plus, 3 grams of Penstia powder, 0.1 grams Litsea cubeba essential oil, half a gram of lavender essential oil, half a gram of benzoin. And this last one is optional. I noticed that the original lotion that we're trying to sort of dupe here has a powdery note to it, and so I wanted to add just a hint of something powdery, which always comes from a fragrance or a perfume. And so I find this clean cotton fragrance oil does have a bit of powder to it, but I just want the tiniest amount of it because I do find that fragrances, when blended with essential oils, they tend to win. So we're looking for 0.03 grams of this, which would be about a drop. I think I'm going to stop there, honestly, even though that's not registering on the scale. I'd rather have a little too little of that note than a little too much. So we can move our scale off. Now we're going to pop a little bit of this in here. I'm going to give this a quick blast with our immersion blender because of that Penstia powder. It's a little lumpy. So to package this up, I'm actually going to use a squeeze tube. So these are a bit of a pain to fill because they've got a fairly narrow orifice. So we are going to use a syringe for this. Now, the last time I did this, it was not so pretty. So apologies in advance if this is also not so pretty. But it all comes together in the end, just maybe a little messy in the middle bit. So I've got a syringe here. And we're going to start by popping some lotion in here. Hey, that's not so bad. Maybe I have improved. Well, hey there. I'm pretty proud of myself. That came out way, way, way better than the first time I tried to fill one of these little tubes. I thought we'd take a look at application. I've had some requests to sort of show what the application looks like. I find it rubs in pretty darn easily, and it's kind of got a really lovely, like, velvety skin feel, which I'm sure does not come across on camera at all, but it's really lovely, I promise. Now that we're all packaged up, we can decorate the tube with a little bit of washi tape, and I've chosen a purple one because, of course, it's lavender, keeping with the theme. And there you go, you just made a lovely lightweight French lavender hand lotion. Though this stuff is also pretty lovely on legs, I would know because that's pretty much where all of my sort of scrap lotion that doesn't make it into the container ends up. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and do remember to check out the description box and click through to this recipe on the blog where there's a lot more discussion on it, links to all the ingredients and where you can buy them, information on scaling, all kinds of other awesome, helpful stuff. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time.